So we're going to fast forward a little bit through your college career. Most of us, and I know you from playing in Wyoming, I didn't know until actually today that you went to West Point first. So talk about that a little bit, like basically what happened with that transition and what made you end up at Wyoming.
So, like I said, I mean, West Point had been there from early on. I had almost committed to them, and in my head, I was going to West Point for a long time because Wyoming didn't come into the fold until very, very late.
Yeah.
So I was 3-4 days out from National Signing Day. In my head, I'm like, I'm going to signing day at the Blaisdell with all my friends, and I'm gonna put on that hat and say that I'm going to Army. And so, Wyoming comes into the fold all of a sudden. I end up choosing West Point. I had kind of told them that they were who I was gonna be looking at to commit to, and so I wanted to kind of hold up to my word. And I ended up going there and finally getting my feet in the mud. And I tried to do as much research as I possibly could. I talked to folks who had gone to the military academies. I found a way to get linked in with a guy who was living in Hawaii, but he was a West Point grad, played football. So just had lunch with him to kind of talk to him about his experience, talk to some other guys that I knew that were playing at the service academies, and obviously took my official visit and really thought that I had done the research to know, okay, I'd be good going to West Point and serving out my college career at Army. But it's always a lot different when you get your feet in the mud. You never really truly know until you get your hands dirty. Yeah. And I got hit with a rude awakening. I was not exposed to like the military lifestyle and kind of that aspect of things growing up. I maybe even had a little bit of trouble with authority in certain ways, being a little bit of a rascal. So, that was a little bit of a rude awakening for me. There was a lot of things that I identified that maybe I felt were hindering my success on the football field, which, the goal was always to make it to the NFL. And I wanted to give myself every opportunity to be able to put myself there. And being at West Point, I just identified between class, the rigors of the education system there, military classes on top of normal classes, PT in the morning sometimes, and then you get very, very little time to be able to spend on football. I was rushing out of study hall at the end of the day to get to meetings, to be in meetings for like half an hour, have practice, and then we were off to study hall again. So noticing that, hey, I knew from a young age that I had to outwork people and I had to put in the work, and not being able to put forth that extra work and that extra time that I really, really wanted to was going to be detrimental for somebody like me who wanted to make it. And so about 5-6 months in, I realized that, West Point was not the place for me to be if I wanted to make my dreams a reality and be able to focus on football. Because at the military academies, they're just worried about making you an officer in the Army, getting you becoming a commissioned officer, and training you to do that to the best of your abilities. So at West Point and the service academies, it's military school football. Football comes last. It's like the sprinkles on the ice cream cone. That's it. So I decided, hey, I gotta leave. I don't know what's gonna be in store for me if I leave, but I'm gonna just test the waters and take the jump and find a way to get somewhere else.
Did you have the opportunity to play as a freshman or see the field a little bit?
So another unique kind of subset of the story is I knew that, I was young when I graduated. I graduated and got to West Point and actually started my season at 17 years old. Okay. So I was young for my age. I knew that I was still kind of a little bit skin and bones, coming out of high school. So I still had some developing to do, and I needed as much time as I could possibly have to, hopefully make those dreams a reality. So at West Point and the military academies, there's no such thing as a redshirt year. Okay. If you go directly into the academies, you have 4 years to play and to complete your school. Okay. But as a workaround is every academy has what they call a preparatory school. Okay. It's like for West Point's was actually on West Point campus. Okay. It's just kind of like a separate section. Mm-hmm. And they send maybe the kids who need to get their grades up a little bit or like weren't quite at the cutoff to get to get into West Point directly. There's some of their athletes that they maybe think maybe we could redshirt this person. And so I actually requested when they recruited me that was a caveat of me committing there was that I wanted to go to the prep school first because I wanted to have that extra year. So I played because the prep school has its own separate team.
Oh, okay. So
you don't play on the actual Army team. You have a separate team. We played against some D3 schools, other preparatory schools, some JCs. Okay. And so I got kind of a little bit of exposure to playing college football, not quite at the D1 level, obviously, but kind of getting implemented into the fold almost. And so
there was film and they could see how you were developing and playing.
Absolutely. So I mean that was a big developmental year for me. It also kind of built the confidence that hey, I can do this at the college level too. So I wanted to test the grounds. Well, they tell me we're not giving you your film. Okay. We're not going to allow you to have your film to send out. Like this isn't a JC that you come to try and get somewhere else.
Got it.
As just they said, if you want to leave, you can leave, but we're not giving you your film to send out to other schools. So my hands were tied in some ways, and we did some outreach to schools. I sent out tons of emails and outreach to coaches and trying to just get somebody to maybe take a look. And I just so happened to send a message to a coach that recruited me.
Got it.
From Wyoming.
Yeah.
We kind of talked about this a little bit earlier, but I think it was May or June, right before I reported to West Point. This coach sent me a message on Facebook saying, "Hey Tim, any second thoughts?" That's it. Just quick little message. I told myself I wasn't even going to open it because I had made my decision. I was going. No second thoughts. I'm gonna do it, and I'm gonna prove people wrong who told me that was the wrong decision. Well, now I kind of identified myself. It was the wrong decision for me. So just on a whim, I go and message him back. I said, "Actually, yes, I am having second thoughts. How are you doing?" And he got back to me within a couple of minutes. Messaged me back. Said, "Hey, good to hear from you. I can't promise anything, but let me go and talk to the head coach and see what we can do."
Was this still in the football season at West Point?
It was at the very tail end.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, very, very tail end. I think we might have had like a game or two left. And I reached out and he got back to me within 24 hours, 48 hours, something quick, and said, "Yeah, we still have a scholarship for you." And I had a conversation with called him the commandant. He was the colonel who ran the prep school. He was kind of like the dean almost. And I remember talking with him and telling him that about my decision that I was going to leave. And I said, I have something on the table right now, but I don't know if it's where I want to go. I'd like to get somewhere bigger. I've always had my eyes set on getting to like the Pac-12 or the Big Ten or going to Michigan State because that's where my dad went, right? So I'm like, I think I might wait and see how things play out. See if something else comes along. And he told me, why? Like, don't go home and get complacent and fall out of it. You have an opportunity on the table to have a scholarship and to still have your school paid for. Like the last thing you want to do is to walk away from a free education and where your parents are paying absolutely nothing for you to have to step into a situation where now your parents are paying for you to go to college. And so after that conversation, I called the coach back and I said, I'm coming. Yes. Put things in place to get me out there. Let me know when you need me. And they pushed my paperwork through to get out of the military and allowed me to accept that scholarship to get started right away. for the spring semester.